Hello, everyone. This is Star Zenith 33, Laura Francesca here at Podbean, talking to you about the astro weather and what is going on in these wee late hours. I'm going to be talking more about today's date, the importance of it, and everything else that is going on. Okay, so follow me there. Okay, thank you for listening to the podcast. I'm talking right now in the late hours. We're about 15 minutes, roughly around there, and it'll be midnight and it will be July 20th, right? But while we're still here in the 19th, it is a very special time. It's a very special day that it's been, okay? Where a lot of astrologers are talking about the Barbault basket, right? And so the configuration that is happening with the astrology with the 4 degree, right? 4 degree, which configures just many aspects on there with the 4 degree. And so 4 degree has to do with real estate, with children, with families, right? So there could be some family drama. I do have to say, I'm trying to avoid any family drama. I did hear today's word was something about scandals. So there could be some scandals that could happen. And now it starts on the 19th, okay, and all through the end of the month of July. Okay. July is jam-packed with so many transits from the past. Okay. But we're not going to see a lot of these things happening till weeks, months. I even seen a post that said even years. Okay. And it's right now the formation that is happening, okay, with these alignments of the 4 degree. And it could be stability. Some can enter into stability, some can enter into some sort of control. They're being controlled, families are being controlled, family members and so forth. There could be a lot of structure, a lot of police activity around certain communities also. It does real estate, so you probably might move to a more secured private location. It depends where you have, these especially if you have 4 degrees anywhere in, Aquarius and Leo and Aries and Scorpio and Taurus. And, I do have the 4 degree in Aquarius, and Jupiter is active with Pluto in retrograde. So I found out something today. I'm not going to talk about it because it's private and it's personal. But I had to do some deep dive in it. Okay, it just started because I seen a YouTube video that was on my feed. It was actually on one of my shorts, and there was a spiritual person that was talking about spirits, and you should never mess with them, and you need to leave them alone. And if you don't like a certain, and we're talking about statues and stuff, and if you don't like a certain statue or whatever it is, leave it alone. It's not doing anything to you, it's not harming you. But when you start messing with it, with trying to hurt it or trying to break it or whatever it is, you can donate it, you can give it away, you can put it somewhere on a street, on a park or something, but you don't have to hurt it. And so there's something that I had remembered about the past, not pertaining to me, well, a little bit to me, right? But it was more towards a family member that broke it to pieces. And I'm not very shocked why that person is having so much bad luck now when it comes to, you know, how they think and so forth. And that is the thing that can happen if you don't have boundaries. And I'm not going to go more into detail, but it's some family drama, and it just explains to me because I did a lot of deep dive. I went into the astrocartography, you know, where this saint came from, and it was actually a gift. Okay, it was a gift, and you know, I like the gift. I mean, I didn't see anything wrong with it. You know, I was not as spiritual as I am today, but there was a lot of things at that moment that were happening in my home, in our home, because it was haunted as well. There was like spirits in the house as well. But it had nothing to do with that gift that was given to me, right? And it's just the way everything happened, right? So, the advice that was said in the video, never, ever hurt some kind of statue, or if you don't like it, give it away, donate it, give it to the Goodwill or something, but never ever intentionally try to hurt it, because it's going to backfire. And so, and it says when it backfires, it's going to backfire, and she gave some examples of things that can happen and stuff like that. So, you know, I'm just trying to be drama free, but things like that can come up with Pluto being in retrograde that has to do with the past. And like I said, I did a deep dive into the astrocartography and I was like, oh shit, you know, I was like, bingo, and into this person's astrocartography and what this statue resembled from what country and everything. And so, yeah, you know, so it's unfortunate, but I don't know. I just personally, I would never hurt a statue. I would never. If I don't like it, I'm just going to leave it alone. And, if I don't know, but I'm not going to hurt it. Why would I do that? I think I'm pretty much wise in not doing that. Right. So anyway, enough of that. But things can come up, when it comes to families with this 4 degree and so forth. And some scandals can come out, especially with Jupiter, and Pluto. Okay, if your Jupiter is right there on Pluto, which mine is, there could be some issues from the past that are coming up, okay, that need to be addressed or just, you know, not in the public, but, you can have a better understanding of why people are the way they are or why they feel towards you in that way and so forth. And I have a better understanding now, which is so unfortunate because I'm just like, you know what? That is none of my business. Whatever's going on with her, she needs to deal with it. She needs to rescue herself. I can't do nothing for her. She put this on her, So anyway, so that's why it's good to know astrology. It's good to be wise, and so forth. And anyway, so let's move on here. The moon right now is in Libra, and right now it's at 13 degrees, okay? 13 degrees. It has to do with action, of taking action. Could be competition there. Let me look at what house. It's in the 6th house of service. It's also in the 6th house of health. Interesting, because I was born with the moon in the 6th house. So I'm very familiar with this type of energy. What I do is I try to balance myself out, okay? I try to pretty much, the 6th house has to do with habits. It has to do with routine matters, hygiene, you know, just what you eat, your diet, being healthy, and so forth, because it all impacts your health, So for me, for instance, I was born with the moon in the 6th house in Libra as well. And what I do is I try to balance myself out and I don't try to overwork myself, right? And so I know when to stop and I know when to work, right? And in between, I do power walks. I go out in nature. I go, I don't know, buy me a water bottle or something and just kind of, you know, enjoy my day. That way I can get recharged and then go back to work, and schedule work or do anything that I need to do. So that's what I do with the moon in Libra. You got to balance yourself, you know. And so right now the moon is in the 6th house. It has to do with our health, with our balance, and although it's at 13 degrees of action, there could be some sort of competition there, okay? As it makes a conjunction to Vertex. Okay, Vertex is in the sign of Libra as well. It's at 6 degrees of health. So it looks like there's a lot of health matters here. There's things that need to be talked about. Okay. And what I'm seeing is that there's a T square going on. Okay. T squares are not good. And when the moon is in Libra, there's going to be a lot of challenges with cardinal signs, which are leadership signs. Okay. The challenges will be Capricorn, it will be Aries, and it opposes Aries, it squares Capricorn, and it squares Cancer. Okay. So Those are the signs that those are the well, it's a cardinal, so it's what's gonna, either give you a challenge or oppose you, right? Opposing different type of opinions there. The modalities, that's what I wanted to say. So I have a lot of things right now going on in my head. So let me take a little drink here of ice water. So as the moon conjuncts vertex, it talks about something faded. Okay, when it comes to your health, there's something, wow, and this is exactly what I was talking about, right? So this is something faded that is impacting your emotions, okay? And in the sign of Libra, of balancing your mind, because Libra is an air sign, balancing your body, your health, okay? There's something faded that is going on, okay, in your life when it comes to your health, okay? And it could pertain to something from the past, okay? It is opposing, the moon is opposing Saturn right now in the sign of Aries, right? And it's at 14 degrees of money, of banks, of wealth. And as it opposes it, also with Pallas, okay, we have Pallas Athena, which is the asteroid of strategy in the sign of Aries. It's coming together here with Saturn, okay, in the opposition with the moon in Libra. And so it is about taking care of your health. It's very important what the moon is emphasizing right now at this moment. And that is what's happening. So when the moon is opposed by Saturn, it has to do with control. It has to do with like regulations and having to obey, having to do the right thing, or Saturn, Saturn is what controls. And it could be father figures, it could be grandfathers, it could be husbands, it could be anything like that. That has to either control or take over, or if you're not feeling so well because it's in the sixth house of health, it has to take action with, it's probably somebody that brings in the money because 14 degrees has to do with money. It just kind of like, checking up on the female because the moon rules females. And it could be a Libra Aries, okay, over here that's not feeling that good. And it has something to do with fate. It has something to do with the past. And that's what I see. So I already see drama here. Okay. The moon is also squaring over here with Mercury. Okay. Mercury is in retrograde right now. It's in the sign of Cancer. And it is challenging Mercury over here in the fourth house. It could be inside the home, your community, your ancestors, families, lineage, roots. Okay. In the sign of Cancer at 16 degrees of ancestry. So the moon in Libra is just, yeah, I mentioned it's in the fourth house, right? Hang on one sec here. I don't know why it's showing. Yeah, the moon is squaring Mercury. Okay, so, it's interesting of what's going on because, it's our emotions with some communication that we're doing about retrogrades, emotions that we're doing about our communication and what we're saying about family. So there could be a little challenge there. But sometimes challenges are good because we need to address situations like that, you know, or they need to be known so there could be great change because this cannot continue like this. And there needs to be some sort of balance. And when it comes to, I would say, when it comes to the brain, when it comes to any mercurial that has to do maybe inside your home, maybe with your ancestors are pushing this to be put out there, you know, because, we're going through a lot of changes right now, endings and beginnings, especially with the new moon in Cancer. It was a brand new beginning for families. I see that there. And let's see here. Let's talk about some of the good stuff here. The moon is making a trine to Mars in Gemini. So that's a good thing, but it is Mars. Okay. So Mars, it expects to do some sort of communication and is getting along well with the moon. Okay. And it is about a communication. It's like it's saying, yeah, you needed to say that, or you need to talk about it, or you needed to know this information, right? Like you came into some new information that was like, aha, that made you go more down the rabbit hole. And it's something that you needed to know, so you can move different, and, stop letting yourself if you were in a position where you probably were bullied or you probably anything like that, at least you know where it's coming from. Okay. So you don't have to get triggered or anything like that. Another thing too here is, and that could pertain to anything. Okay. It could be family members, but mostly a lot of family members. When I see a lot of Cancer that's transiting, there's going to be a lot of family drama. And so if you don't want that, just, ignore it and just continue doing your work, I guess. But if it's really that important, then it has to be addressed. But you can't really fix anything from a person. They have to get therapy, they have to get work and overcome their envious or jealous, frequencies that they have, and why they get triggered like that, and they have to fix it. So, I mean, you're good, but they have to fix that. So, you can't do nothing about that. Okay. They need to understand it and get therapy and fix whatever they need to fix, right? The moon also is squaring Pholus in Capricorn. Now, Pholus in Capricorn has to do with business. It's at 10 degrees of Capricorn, so there's a double Capricorn there. And it is bringing a challenge there when it comes to business, okay? And it's in retrograde as well, so something pertaining to the past again, okay? And where we have Pholus is in the 10th house of public participation. It's in I relate with the world, okay? So it is already 12 o'clock, so it's already July the 20th, okay? So I don't know how everybody's day was, but I did want to talk a little bit about. So those are some of the things that are transiting right now. Okay, like the moon. There's a lot of challenges and squares and having to address things or talk about them or heal, having to heal certain aspects here, and you know it's important because this happened on the 19th. And I went out today for a power walk. And one of the reasons I did, because I was like, well, let me see what kind of signs do I see out there, like frequency and so forth. And I took a picture because I ran right where I was walking. I ran into a lemon branch. And we know limes, or it was a lime branch. And we know limes signify protection and it signifies also prosperity. And interesting that my father's last name, Ramos, means branches from trees. And, that is a Spanish last name, Ramos. And and we've seen the FIFA, right? Who won? Spain did, right? And I just said, oh my gosh, this is a big old sign from the ancestors, because as I was walking, it was right in front of me, right outside a home. And I was like, I took a picture of it because I'm like, this is a big sign because this is my last name. So anyway, and then I just kept walking and it was a pretty good day. I went to go to the waterfront and just look at the ocean and just walk around. There was a lot of people. Usually Sundays, there's a lot of people on the boardwalk there in the waterfront. And I didn't see nothing really. There was friendly people. There was a lot of friendly people and like young people, millennials and everything. And I had a good day. I just wanted to go out and just get some fresh air because it really was hot. And so it was a pretty good day for being the basket that they talk about, the quadrant, that they talk about, especially because my Jupiter is right on Pluto retrograde. Okay, so I knew things were going to happen of the past, things were going to get discovered, things were going to pop up unexpectedly, and I was not even looking for it. Okay, it just happened. I just happened to come across some information that I was not even looking for. And it was kinda like, "Ta-da," my Jupiter, and I went down the rabbit hole, and it gave me so much information. So and I combined it with astrocartography, astrology, I mean, everything. So, you know, I'm just like, I'm just trying to move on, from all of that can get bigger and bigger, when it comes to families and so forth. When it comes to Cancer and Capricorn, Aries and Libra, but usually Capricorn and Cancer, it could get very dramatic, very telemundo. So I'm just like, I do not need that right now. I'm good. I'm trying to move forward, and on this new beginning and, you know, love it or leave it, it's about to, you know, show up in our lives, and it's whether we want to deal with it or not. So, so that's some of the things that are going on there. And it's important, for this what is it, Barnabolt basket that they call it, is quadruple, you know, transits that are going on. And, they're important because, the force symbolizes a lot of, it could be a lot about ancestors and control. And we're going to be experiencing that the next following weeks. Okay. So it's just about, trying to work with these energies that are going to happen within the next few months, next few years, and it's just interesting, but it starts on the 19th. It started on the 19th. Okay. So whatever you came across on the 19th, besides the FIFA, right? Winning for me, it was the limes, it was friendly people talking to me. It was pretty good. And then I did pull a card for today, and it was a really good card. And I'm actually, I have the deck here. I usually pull another card before I go to sleep just to see what kind of frequency, and I have the cards here. So let me just pull one for tonight while I'm on here on the mic. Let's see. Let's pull one card for tonight. Okay, the card is 5G. Okay. So there's something elevated. Okay. When I see the word 5G, it 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 could symbolize some information, some high elevated information. It could literally be 5G, but it could be like gamma. I've heard that I have gamma energy frequency. And so when I see 5G, it just tells me that there's illumination with this information, very high elevated information that probably other people might not have. It's just very elevated. So, it is a good time to ground yourself even before you go to sleep. We might not even be sleepy at all. A lot of commotion that has happened also, the last day of FIFA as well. People are probably still celebrating. They probably haven't got off their high of, the winning and everything. But there's this 5G of high elevation. Okay. So, I mean, I'm feeling good right now, you know, you know, I'm trying to wind down as well, but yeah, that's what we have right now for the word for tonight is 5G. So we might wake up with new thoughts and new ideas and so forth, dreams or something. It could be anything like that. Since the moon is in Libra and the ruler of Libra is Venus, let's go to Venus real quick. I might have to cut this one short because I don't think I have nothing else more to report on here, but Venus is in Virgo. Okay. So Venus, oof, okay. Alrighty then. Okay. So Venus right now is in Virgo. It's at 11 degrees of community. Okay. So when Venus is in Virgo, is about being of service. It is about, like maybe being at a location and cleaning up your food, making sure you throw it in the trash, making sure that you clean. And I talk about it because, there's this new venue here in my city where I live. It's still under construction, but they opened it up for FIFA. It's like a little sneak peek. They still are working on it. I don't think they have a whole lot more to go, but you could tell there's still some work that needs to be done. but they opened one space just for the FIFA, and it looks pretty cool. I really like it. I took the tour and everything, and I sat in one of those benches, and it was just like too hot. I just could not and really enjoy it a lot because I don't like the heat when it gets really hot. I just can't. I could not last in Arizona. When I lived in Arizona, I just could not last. It was just too hot. But it looked really beautiful. It looked really classy. I was very surprised, like, wow, they did a great job. And they're not done yet, okay? They only had opened it for FIFA, and so that could be like Venus and Virgo of having to clean up for yourself, like after you eat, make sure, you're not throwing trash just in the grass area, but they still have workers, cleaning workers, that go around, but because Venus is in Virgo, that's what it means, clean up after yourself, have good habits in the community because it's at 11 degrees. 11 degrees has to do with community, but it is coming together with this asteroid. That's why I was like, oh man, this asteroid here of mental. So that could be like mental illness and so forth, mental unstable. And it's in the sign of Virgo as well. And it's at 4 degrees. This is why I say the 4 degrees is like, it could be some sort of control, or this could be this relationship here. Maybe you feel a little bit controlled by your boyfriend or your husband or a father figure or a boss or any man in your life, okay, at 4 degrees. And it's coming together with the South Node, which is the past. Okay. And so it's interesting. So that's why I say it has something to do with the past. Okay. It has something to do with the past and mental issues or mental instability, and something to do with Venus and Virgo. Okay. Something to do with the community. It could be friends as well. Okay. Venus at 11 degrees, it could be a type of love life in a community, and there seems to be a little bit of instability coming from this asteroid of mental with control. Okay. And it pertains to the past. Okay. So a lot of things, a lot of regressions are coming back. Let me see where it is at 11, but yeah, it is at this in the sixth house of service and being healthy and responsibilities and so forth. And it's coming together with mental. So at 4 degrees of control. So, or real estate or anything like that. So just watch out if there's a little bit too much control. Maybe that can make you go all wacko or something. I don't know. I don't know. That could be just, what I can see there. Let's see here. What is this asteroid over here? Oh, okay. There's also, this asteroid of Tai Chi in the sign of Sagittarius that can, you know, be having problems with Venus and Virgo. Okay. And so there could be something about a love life in your community or in your circle of friends that is bringing a challenge here with Tai Chi, with the money of a Sagittarius in retrograde. This has to do with the past, okay, with how they make money, joint finances, and so forth. So there could be some problems there, okay? So that's something to look out for as well. The Sagittarius money going away, or somebody from different countries. There could be some sort of challenge there, okay, when it comes to countries. So if you're just make sure you're following your money and so forth, because there could be something about a Venus and Virgo, okay, and it pertains to health. So you might maybe not even have enough money, or maybe a contract gets canceled or something, to get some sort of like maybe insurances, or getting some help here for a Venus and Virgo, and the insurance got canceled, or now there's a different type of insurance or something like that. Something to that effect, okay? And there's some kind of money loss that's happening here when it pertains to countries and transformation, and so forth. Could even be medicines and so forth. So that is what we have here for tonight. I just wanted to do a little mini episode and wow, I'm in good timing, right under 33 minutes. So I'm just gonna, just end it here because I am a little bit tired as well. And just wanted to follow up for today and tomorrow. We're going to have the moon in Libra. It's about balance. Okay, it's at 33 now. It's about balance and being in harmony, but it's going to be impossible because we're having oppositions and squares, okay, with Aries. We don't have Jupiter in Cancer anymore, so we won't be having that square to there. But it didn't really make such a big difference when it came to Jupiter. It just could have been over the top. But we do have Saturn and Neptune in Aries, okay, that is opposing the moon. And let's see, we don't have Cancer in Jupiter anymore. And Capricorn, we have full, so that has to do with business. So we do have to, what is this other asteroid over here? Oh, Moni. Moni just entered Capricorn. That's interesting. So that means that Capricorns could start making a little bit more money when it comes to the ninth house of marketing. Okay. So that's something good there. So anyway, I'm going to end it here under 33 minutes. And if you guys did like the episode, do share, do subscribe, do tell your friends so we can continue doing and giving this type of information out there weekly and grow the channel so we can grow the communities, grow the awareness, okay, of what is happening, what to watch out for, and what can transpire with this, barbell basket of 4 degrees, that pertains to families, okay? It's going to be huge when it comes to families. A lot of things that are going to come up, okay? And and it's going to continue for weeks and weeks and months and probably even years and years. And it's something very, very important, Some said it was the Solomon seal. Some called it the Star of David. So it was a brand new commencement, okay? So anyway, I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Oh, and I do want to mention if you guys are interested in getting any readings or consultations that I also do, you can head out to www.starzenith33.com. Okay? I will catch you on the next one. Goodbye.